feel what we feel. So this is like a photograph in the sensory way of how the body is coming in contact with the floor. Is it the same as always? Or is there an area that's more in your awareness than others? And just kind of settle into it. And when you're ready, let's turn to the right side and bend your knees into like 90 degrees and have your arms in front of you, straight in front of your chest, between the chest and the shoulders. And we're going to start sliding the upper arm forward. And back to center. So we're going to the right side. And we are kind of gliding the upper arm, the left arm, on top of the right arm forward and back to hand over hand. And just slide the hand until it kind of goes forward. And the goal is not to go as far as you can, but to put your eyes and your sensation, the sensory kind of awareness into the back and start analyzing or feeling or sensing how far down the back do you feel that movement as the arm goes forward and comes back. What in your back is moving? Obviously the shoulder, the arm, but can you sense vertebrae moving? Can you sense ribs moving? Are you inhaling on the way forward, or are you exhaling on the way forward? Or is there no connection between the breath and you just breathe normally, regardless of what the arm is doing? If I were to ask you how many vertebrae do you feel that's moving, will you be able to show me from where to where? What happens to the bone in front of you between the chest, in front of the chest, the sternum? Is that moving? What happens to the clavicle, front of the shoulder? Is that moving? And rest in the center. And we're going to do it again, and this time we're also going to go not just back to the hand, but we're going to shorten, and we're going to move back, sliding on top of the forearm. So we're sliding over the palm of the right hand, and we're sliding back to the hand, and we're sliding up the forearm. Now on top of the other not up and down, but on the arm, on the lower arm, forward, and on the lower arm, back, without bending the elbow. Without bending the elbow, the attention is to the rotation of the vertebrae. So nothing happens to the elbow, but something happens to the vertebrae, to the clavicle, to the scapula. Think about bones, not so much muscles. Think about the bones moving. And how many of the vertebrae in your back are actually moving when you go forward? How far down towards your hip and how far up towards your neck and your head? How do you organize your breathing? No elbow bend. We're trying to move the spine and the ribs and the scapula and the clavicle. Maybe even the head as you quit shoulder. And rest in the middle. And roll on your back to see if anything has changed in the way that you're lying down. In the way that you feel it against the mattress, the mat. Has anything changed? And go ahead and roll to your left side and lie down on your left side with the arm in front of your chest and the right arm over the other hand, and start sliding forward and back to the hand. And let's figure out what happens on this side. Does it move in the same way the other side? Is it moving less? Is there an area that says ouch, no more? Where is it? If you have an area that doesn't really want to move, stop there, don't fight it, and come back. Are you exhaling when you go forward? Are you inhaling when you go forward? How far down does the movement go on this side? Does it affect your hip? Does it affect the way that your knee is laying on top of the other knee? Can you sense some movement? And start moving all the way to the hand and back towards the forearm. And then back, hand over hand, and forward, and back to the hand, and up to the forearm. And if you tend to bend your elbow, try to remind yourself that it is the torso, the rotation of the spine, and we're trying to figure out how many vertebrae we can rotate. So it's not about the arm. The arm is just the guiding light or the indication to how much rotation we have in the back. And go ahead and stop in the center and roll to your back and rest. How does your back come in contact with the mat at this point? On the next move, we're going to roll again to the right side in a minute. And we're going to, instead of having the upper arm straight, we're going to have it bent with the elbow pointing up towards the ceiling and forward, and the head is on the floor. So the forearm is 90 degrees, and the elbow is supported by the hand. So let's roll to the first side again, and we're going to put the upper hand on the floor in front of your chest with the elbow pointing up. So find a good place for your hand. Decide where your fingers want to be. The knees are bent. The right hand is out of the way, the right arm.
Oh.
And we're going to start to make...
No wonder I can't get it to turn that way.
And we're going to start making circles with the elbow.
Moving the hand.
You're not moving your hand is glued to the floor, but you are invited to move circles with the elbows. You are allowed to move the pelvis. You're allowed to move the ribs. You're allowed to move the knees. You're allowed to move the ankles. You can involve the whole body. And notice where the circle is not round. And see if you can maybe make it rounder. What do you have to do with the rest of your body to make the circle with your elbow round? The base of your hand is not coming off the floor. So if you have long sleeves, I should see the edge of the sleeve at the same height from the floor the whole time. You can do tiny, tiny little circles. Try to make them really slow so you figure out where is the jumpiness. Where is it not smooth? Where is it not round? And rest. And if you went one way, go the other way now. And try to put your hands in a different place a little bit. Find a variation. Maybe closer to your chest, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. And again, it's not about the arm, it's about the rest of the body echoing. I can start seeing your pelvises moving. I can start seeing your knees moving. If you have one foot on top of the other, you may feel the bones of the foot circling over the other foot. And rest. Now I'm going to ask you to go again, forward and backwards, but this time I'm going to ask you to make the circle as big to the front as it's big to the back. So if you cannot go forward as much as to the back, you have to make this circle smaller in the front, or vice versa. So you're making the two halves, the forward and the back, and the upper and the lower equal size. And if you're moving only the elbow and you're forgetting the rest of the body, you're invited to see if by moving the rest of the body you can actually control more the preciseness, the rhythm, the quality of the circle. So we're not relying on the agility or the flexibility of the wrist and just the shoulder joint, but we're actually inviting the rest of the body to participate in creating a perfect circle. And change the direction of the circle. And drop the thinking and try to feel it and sense it. Does it feel like a wave? Does it feel like laying in a swimming pool? Is it becoming effortless? Good, and rest in the center. Roll to your back. Good, and roll to the other side. Bend your knees at 90 and bring the upper arm in front of the chest. Find a good place for the hand. And we're going to start making circles with the elbow in one direction. And notice how different the circle here. And how is it different? Where is it? For me, it's in the ribs and the waist. Where is it for you? And what can I involve in the rest of the body to start facilitating a smoother and a better quality circle? You may change the position of the head and see if anything makes it better, easier, more harmonious. And change the direction of the circle. For a minute, try to do just the elbow without moving your knees, without moving your hip, and see if you can feel how low down the back the vertebrae are moving, and then allow the rest of the body to participate and see if there is more of your spine that's getting involved in the rotation. And rest in the middle. And again, try to find maybe a different place for your hand. And we're going to rotate again, both forward and back. And this time we're going to make sure that the size of the circle is equal from front to back and up and down. So start into one direction. You can make the circle smaller. But now we're working on the preciseness of the size. So you're not allowed to go forward more than you go back. And you cannot go higher than lower, or lower than higher. And change the direction, and again, same size in all directions. And rest in the center. And roll to your backs. How is the body laying on the ground now? How the two sides of your back feel? How is the distribution of the weight between the feet, the hip, and your shoulders? And go ahead and bring the legs up to standing position. And the arms straight up towards the ceiling. And we're going to lift the arms maybe an inch or two and drop them. So they're vertical to the ceiling. You lift them and drop them. It's like if somebody is pulling you up and then they let go. Boom. 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 Let them fall. Let them fall. So the shoulder blades in the back are hitting the floor. Boom. 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 A real drop. Drop. I want to hear the clink. 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 Throw it. Throw it. It's like somebody is dropping you. And rest. Let the arm go down and rest. And bring the knees back up. And we're going to go pa-pam, 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 pa-pam. You're slapping the floor. Pam-pam, pam-pam, pa-pam, 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 pa-pam. And stay there for a minute. See if the whole shoulder is on the ground. Your whole shoulder is on the ground. Pa-pam, 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 pa-pam. Last one, and rest the arm. Stay with the sensation for a minute. If you really did pam-pam, you feel the blood rushing into the area. We're going to lift the arms straight up again, vertical, towards the ceiling. And we're going to lift the left arm straight up. Like somebody is pulling us up and up and up and up and up. But the hip stays on the ground. But the waist, everything is being pulled, and the ribs are pulled. And now you're slowly allowing it to very, very gently go down all the ribs up to the shoulder. And again, somebody is pulling your left arm off, lifting, and they're pulling, and now you have to get the shoulder up, and you have to get the ribs up, and you have to get the waist turned. And maybe your head is turning towards the arm. And now slowly reverse it. Allow the waist to go down. Allow the rib to go down, the floating ribs, the middle of the ribs, the upper ribs, and the shoulder blade until your shoulder is flat on the floor. And again, somebody is pulling your left arm up and up, just the left arm, up and up and up, all the way up to the waist, all the way up to the waist. And your head is turning towards the arm, and then one part after the other, all the way down. And we're lifting it up, and somebody is pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and allow the ribs to go up, allow the waist to go up, and up and up and up, all the way up and up and up and up. And then you slowly go one body part after the other. So now we're letting it go as far as we can go down to the hips. So don't be afraid to be pulled by somebody up into the ceiling. Up and up and up and up and up. And now allow the left hip to go off the floor. And you're turning towards the right. But the knees are still standing up. And you're turning the hip back down to the floor. And the waist down to the floor. And the rib down to the floor. And the rest of the ribs to the floor. And the scapula to the floor. Until the shoulder is flat on the ground. And again, pull the left. Somebody is pulling you and pulling you and pulling you and pulling you. And now you allow the left hip to get off the ground, and your head is turning and looking at the fingers of the left hand. And you're turned to the right as far as you can go. And with exhalation and breathing in and out, you slowly ironing, flattening the hip, the waist, the floating ribs, the middle ribs, the shoulder blade, and the shoulder. And again, the left arm is being pulled passively by somebody else, up and up and up and up and up, and the rest of the body is being pulled after, and the hip is being pulled off the ground, and the head is turning towards the fingers of the left arm, and you're slowly around, going back down, one body part after the other, flattening it, relaxing it, and rest your arm down and rest your legs down. And take a look at the muscles on your left side of your back and the right side of your back. And go ahead and bend your knees again and lift your arms up. And we're going to start by lifting the right arm now, only to the hip, without the hip yet. Just pull the arm, allow the rotation of the back down to the hip, but not without the hip, and then slowly bring it down from the waist to the floating ribs, to the middle of the ribs, to the shoulder blade, until the shoulder is flat on the ground. And try to really feel like somebody is pulling your arm, and the arm is being pulled passively. It's not you doing it, it's somebody pulling it. And you're sensing the rotation and the pulling. And then with gravity, you're slowly bringing everything back down, flattening it down towards the mat, allowing each muscle and each bone to find its place. The tempo is up to you. You can rest in between as long as you need to. And the next time you can start allowing the hip to come up. So you allow the right pelvis to be lifted off the floor because the pulling is so extreme. Your eyes are focused on the fingers of your right arm. All the way up to the pelvis, and you lift the right pelvis off the floor. Lift, 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 rotation, 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 rotation. Look at the fingers, look up here. And slowly go down. And lift the pelvis up, 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 and then slowly rest the pelvis down. And the ribs and the shoulder blade. And next time you come to the center, rest your arms, rest your legs. Bring your arms to the sides, to shoulder height. And take your left hand and put it on your chest and slide it to the right, slide it over your shoulder, slide it over the arm, slide it over the elbow, slide it over the forearm, slide it over the wrist, slide it over the hand, slide it until you're laying down on your right side. slide it back on the hand, slide it back on your wrist, on your forearm, on your elbow, on your arm, on your shoulder, through your chest to laying down flat. And take your right hand and put it on your chest and slide it over your shoulder and slide it over your arm and your elbow and your wrist and your hand until you're lying on your left side. And then return over the hand, over the wrist, over the forearm, the elbow, the shoulder, and your flat. And over the chest, left hand to the right side. And allow the rotation of the vertebrae to roll you to the side rather than to force the turn from your pelvis. See if you can rotate through all the vertebrae from side to side in a rhythm that fits your inner rhythm or music. Obviously, you have to turn one leg in to be able to roll. See if you can find a rhythm that's smooth and comfortable and just goes from the top of the head down the spine all the way down. Legs are straight, you can be straight. See if you can increase the tempo. So it's a roll, and it's a roll, and it's a roll, and it's a roll, and it's a roll. And then lie down. And come to center, lie down and rest. And notice how the right side and the left side of your spine, the muscle along the spine, around the ribs, the shoulder, the hip. And you just take your time, and when you're ready, roll to the side and come up.